that first study that we had conducted, 12 years ago, we had mapped essentially the trust relationships of the 500 most popular sites on the internet in terms of JavaScript. So if you are, let's say, CNN.com, who do you pull JavaScript from, right? What sort of remote servers do you trust? And essentially, we were doing supply chain security, but before we had the term supply chain security, right? And what we were trying to gauge is whether you can actually attack these popular sites, not directly, but indirectly through essentially, the JavaScript that they're choosing to pull in dynamically on the front end. And at the time, we actually found, I don't remember, it was 5 or 10 or 12 of these most popular sites being affected to expired domain names. So at some point, they had trusted some remote service for JavaScript. That remote service went belly up. They never observed it, found it. It never broke their workflow in some meaningful way. And so now all that an attacker had to do is essentially, go over to Namecheap or GoDaddy, pay $10, get that expired domain name, and now suddenly start delivering malicious JavaScript to these pre-existing links, right, on these super popular websites. So you essentially get XSS attacks, cross-site scripting on the most popular sites with tens of millions of users for the price of a domain name.
And I could imagine there's a whole ecosystem of services out there, not competing with you, but on the opposite side, on the black hat type side of things, where they're accumulating all these domains and knowing, constantly testing them, knowing how many sites are using them. And as soon as they go out, they're like,
yeah, exactly,
perfect.
Doing the opposite. Yeah,
or even trying to buy them.
Potentially, right? You're right. So there's an entire kind of cottage industry. Maybe you guys know about this already, kind of called drop catching. Are you familiar with that?
Not the term.
So it's pretty much people who are waiting for domain names to drop. So the very last part of a domain's life cycle is the 5-day period before a domain goes back to general availability. And essentially you have entire companies that are waiting to snipe the most valuable of the domain names that are dropping to the second. And then they do this for SEO reasons, for potentially malicious reasons, right? Because they have established that someone important is trusting this domain for something, right? And by essentially, if you're the first one to grab it, you will be able to abuse this established trust relationship. So as you said, the opposite definitely exists in multiple ways, people waiting for the right stuff to drop.
Stay tuned for the next episode on Monday afternoon.